Okay, now we're going to talk about cleave slash AoE. It's a little different in this spec is because of fiery chains. Fiery chains, it helps your AoE a lot because it gives combo points based on how many enemies you hit with it. But it only has a 50% chance to give a combo point per enemy hit with it. So this is when the spec gets a little more complicated. This is when you have to really pay attention, to your combo points and what you're doing, um, so that you make sure you're not, using, because you could get zero combo points um, by using fire chains. I mean, that's very rarely happens, but it could, and you don't want to use like a two point finisher. The other thing I'm going to say about AoE is that there's a good macro in the written guide for an AoE macro, and you're more than welcome to use it. I don't like using it personally because you get into that phase, you get into that mindset of, I'm just going to spam this AoE macro until I get 5 combo points, then use Flame Blitz, keep spamming the AoE macro, and get, Flame Blitz. Um, and the problem with that is you need to keep up your main rotation, You need to keep up, your Satchel Charge and Scourge of Darkness. You need to make sure that you have 5 Dusk Strikes, on time for your big cooldown macros and stuff. So that's the reason that I personally um, don't like using that AoE macro. If you can keep up with all that and use that macro, more power to you. But personally, I don't like using it. Just for that fact that like I don't want to get into that phase of like AoE macro and then AoE finisher. So we'll go into AoE rotation. I'll show you how it works. You'll see what I mean with the combo points. Again, I'm gonna preload Scourge. Um, of course, I mean if it's just a parse, like I'm gonna go. You're not usually if you're AoEing, you're not actually start from stealth, but whatever. So we're gonna do the same rotation, and again, we're going to you gotta get those five emptiness stacks, and now we will go and now we'll just AoE the shit out of them. And as soon see how those combo points pop up, it's kind of weird, but you gotta always keep watching your other cooldowns, because look, you know, Scourge and Satchel are up, and now we have to build emptiness stacks again. So you, of course, want to use fiery chains. I mean, fiery chains as much as possible, but do not neglect your main rotation. Yeah. See, and then like I'm already back at I gotta build up emptiness stacks again. So the rotation moves quicker than most people think. And then you go back in. This is a pretty bad parse for me, but basically what I'm trying to stress here is that it definitely can cleave very good. But you also need to make sure that you're keeping up with your standard rotation. And again, here we go. We need to build up stacks again. I had to refresh Scourge and Satchel Charge. Yeah. So like you have to keep up with the main rotation. That's my main thing I want to say. Yes, it can cleave and do good AoE, but if you don't keep up with that rotation and you just kind of neglect it, which I think a lot of people might do when they're AoEing, they're just like, oh, I'm just AoEing. You will lose a lot of DPS. So that's the 5 target, cleave, um, um, AoE. And if you look right here, alright, where are we at? Let's look right here. See, the main target actually took a lot. Look at how much damage they took. These are not debuffed targets. These are not debuffed targets. But because of the way that Hellfire Blades works, and hitting another target hits other targets as well with the same thing. I did 1.2 million without using. I did a couple single target finishers. I did use a few single target finishers, but still, the DPS on the single target was still 1.2 million, and these are non-debuff targets. So that's why cleaving with 61 Nightblade is so great. You keep a lot of DPS on that main target. That's one reason it's so good. You know, I mean, it was a maybe what, a 10% or 10% or more, you know, DPS loss from cleaving. That's because you have to keep up all those all those buffs. You have to make sure you keep Satchel, keep up Scourge, and Scourge definitely hits other targets. You can see, you know what I mean, like this one, Scourge hit them. You know, yeah, you can see Scourge hit them. You know, you can see. So, yeah, that's a 5 target cleave. Make sure don't get into the mindset of I'm just AoEing. You need to make sure that you're following the rotation, or else your DPS will just drop a lot because you need to keep everything up. All right. All right. So to finish this off, there might have been some things I missed. I do apologize. If you have any questions, please, comments. Obviously, this is very rough. I'm just trying to. There's a lot of people that have been asking about how I play 61 Nightblade recently. Um, so this is my best attempt at trying to show you how I play it and why I play it. Um, again, I don't know if I even said this, but and most people I think know this. If you play Nightblade Sab right now, single target, you'll run out of charges and your DPS will drop, very fast. So on prolonged fights, so it's tough. People are playing marksman on fights, with marksman is a very viable spec for a lot of fights. But I still think this spec's probably better, in most ways if played correctly. Hopefully I helped you a little bit to see how I play it, and I don't play it perfectly by any means. I'm always trying to work on the spec. So if you have any questions, please let me know. This is another little quick thing I was going to show at the end. For things like easy mode, Belagosh and stuff, it's kind of fun. Not playing optimally, but for the most initial burst, you can get pretty high in this spec as well. So I'll show you how to do that. Basically, just load Scourge. We're just gonna open Dark Malady, spam the builder twice, and then just go into the burst macro, and Living Flame 1 minute macro right here. So here we go, and we'll see how high we can burst real quick. It wasn't too bad. Like 2.6. That's self buffed and stuff. But that's actually a fun little thing to know, because it's for like I said, easy mode Balagash, easy mode a council. You can really put up some kind of retarded numbers right there. At the end, I'm gonna show you. Here's my gear. Um, Tier 2 Eternal. Um, Pretty decent focus. Missing a few like best in slot type stuff, but my crit power is a little bit higher than it should be. I do have the VP DPS trinket. So those are my stats. That's my gear. And hopefully this guide helped you. And if there's anything else I can do, I might try to make up another one for this. If anybody has any more questions that I could show. So just let me know if you need anything. Brazil at Fablight. Just always hit me up if you have any questions. And I appreciate watching. Thanks.